In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, be advised that notice of this meeting was made by posting on Boulevard, Town Hall, and sending to the officially designated newspapers indicating that the meeting would take place at the Community Center at 6:30 p.m. on this date. The fire exits are located in the far right corner in the back and to my immediate left in the front. For Resolution 156-20, establishing rules of conduct in the forum for public meetings, please be advised of the following. All members of the public must step up to the podium, state for the record their name before addressing mayor and council. Roll call.
Councilman Aguilar, Councilman Haynes.
Here.
Councilman Hurley.
Here.
Councilman McDonald.
Here.
Councilman Sockborough.
Here.
Council President Burns.
Here.
Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up is the introduction of the municipal budget. 48-25, municipal budget notice. Municipal budget of the Borough of Rockaway, County of Morris for the fiscal year 2025. Be it resolved that the following statements of revenues and appropriations shall constitute the municipal budget for the year 2025. Be it further resolved that the budget be published in the Citizen in the issue of March 19, 2025. The governing body of the Borough of Rockaway does hereby approve the following budget for the year 2025. Patty, do you want any statements?
Just, and I think you're gonna get ready to read it, and just wanna let you know that the budget came in at 1.95%, increase for just the municipal tax portion. April 10th will be our public hearing and adoption upon completion of the public hearing.
Okay, thanks. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve the introduction of the municipal budget for the 2025 fiscal year.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Haynes.
Yes.
Councilman Hurley.
Yes.
Councilman McDonald.
Yes.
Councilman Sockborough.
Yes.
Council President Burns.
Yes.
Notice is hereby given that the budget and tax resolution was approved by the Borough Council of the Borough of Rockaway, County of Morris on March 13, 2025. A hearing on the budget and tax resolution will be held at the Community Center at 21-25 Union Street, Rockaway, New Jersey on April 10th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. at the date at that time. At which time, any comments or objections to the said budget and tax resolution for the year 2025 may be presented by taxpayers or other interested persons. Great work, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Got approval of minutes for the regular meeting, January 23rd, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have two pieces of correspondence. The first one from Brian Rodriguez, to whom it may concern. My name is Brian Rodriguez, and I am the owner of 11 J Street in Rockaway Borough. My wife and I purchased our home back on May 31st, 2024. When we purchased our house, we contacted New Jersey Gas for information on gas conversion, but we referred to contact the borough due to an ordinance in place on J Street where the pavement may not be interrupted. We contacted the borough and we were informed that in April 2025, the ordinance would be lifted or meet its time period, and that we would be able to proceed with New Jersey Gas at around this time. Upon speaking to the Rockaway Borough Clerk, Kimberly Cuspilus, she kindly informed me to write a request for an exception to be considered. My family and I have planned on converting from oil to gas this year, and we are ready with the right contractors to make a few updates to our home this spring. We kindly and respectfully would like to request for us to be granted permission to have the ordinance on 11 J Street lifted for us to be able to proceed with New Jersey Gas. If you have any questions, you can be reached by cell phone. Thank you for your time and all consideration of our request. Sincerely, Brian Rodriguez. So if you recall, recently we did have another exception on J Street where we allowed oil to gas conversion, and the timing of all this kind of with the ordinance change from 2 years?
2 to 5, yeah.
From 2 to 5 years, and this fall within, between this period and when the Rodriguez's had moved in. This was referred to the engineer, and they had recommended that we allow this conversion to happen. Yes.
Motion to approve the request of Mr. Brian Rodriguez at 7 J Street for the installation.
11 J Street.
11 J Street, excuse me, corrected, 11 J Street for the installation of gas service to his residence by New Jersey Natural Gas.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Brian, good job.
Thank you.
I have another letter here, geese population in Parks Lake, to whom it may concern. We live across the street from Parks Lake and have issues in the past with the geese landing in our yard and creating quite a mess every time this happens. We've been fortunate the past few years as they have avoided our home, but not this year. I spend a lot of time cleaning up their poop so that my dog doesn't walk in it or worse, try to eat it. I've spent money on balloons, shiny objects, and other deterrents, but nothing works. So we're petitioning the town to do something to try to limit the ever-growing population. There are many things that can be done, egg addling, so that the eggs don't hatch. I believe when that happens, they are less likely to come back. I'm sure that we are not the only residents that complain about this. You can't even walk in the cemetery or on the path due to their droppings. I won't take my dog over to the lake if I've seen them chase people and animals, and it's just getting out of control. Anything you can do would be greatly appreciated. Regards, Arnold and Beth Rowland. So the plan this year is the egg addling. Where you kind of grease the eggs to not let them hatch. So that's already part of what we're doing this year. And I think that's about it that we're doing this year. So I can get a message back to Mr. Rowland. That,
We used to also use a spray, some type of a mint spray to deter them.
yeah. So, that's it for correspondence. Councilman Haynes.
Good evening, Mayor and council members and our public. Short and sweet tonight, the DPW is working on our fields and maintaining our parks and recreation areas, doing some spring cleanups early thanks to good weather. They have not had a winter or weather event in a few weeks, which is nice for the guys. Regarding the Board of Education, I'm assuming the rest of the council also received a letter from Council President Graff, in which he wrote to Assemblyman Doncato and to Tony Bucco regarding the concerns they have with the out of town residency on the children. Well-written letter. I'm not going to take the time to read it, but I think it was great that he actually took the time to obviously put a lot of effort into this, and hopefully it will not fall on deaf ears, because they are certainly concerned. I guess their money they receive from the state dropped from 92% down to 67%, and hopefully this year it'll be better. I don't know if they've got their numbers from the state yet, but they're hoping to get some kind of relief, and that's my report.
Motion to accept the report of Councilman Haynes.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Councilman McDonald.
Good evening, everybody. An update from our Parks and Recreation Director, Rob O'Connor. Recreation Department received all necessary paperwork and insurance for Rockaway Unico to host a fundraising walk at Park Lake on April 27th at 9 a.m. to benefit the Jersey Battered Women's Service of Morris County. Cost is $25 and children under 12 are free. Registration is at rtunico.org or on the day of the event at the lake. Rec is also getting ready and geared up for spring sports. Fields are starting to dry up and regular maintenance will be beginning shortly, and kids should be on the fields by the 1st of April if weather holds. Eagle Scout project of painting Smithfield building will continue this weekend and should be completed by the end of the month. And also the next recreation meeting is always the 4th Tuesday of the month. That's this Tuesday, March 25th at 7 p.m. Sorry, March 25th at 7 p.m. And that is the report.
Motion to accept the report of Councilman McDonald.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Councilman Slaughter.
Evening, Mayor, Council, or residents. For tonight, my report, I'm going to speak about on the ordinance committee. Our next meeting will be the 26th, tentatively. Two things we're working on the ordinance committee. We're working on lithium battery storage around town. As you know, there's a problem about lithium batteries. So we're trying to address that through an ordinance. On top of that, we're straight to bring up, revisiting street openings also. Along with that, the environmental commission. This is a tough task. I've been talking to people around town, trying to get people involved. I may have a third person interested. This is a tough topic because it's involved in manual labor, cleanups, people giving them more time. So I'd like to at least give membership of at least 6 people. So again, people, our residents, spread the word. We're still looking. We're not giving up on this yet. Moving along, as you know, we do our Memorial Day. So the parade is already starting. We're looking for people to put applications in who wants to participate in the parade. If you have any organizations in town you're involved with, you can get involved. Any businesses, I always look forward to more businesses also get involved. And one of the things we also do is we do an essay competition in town for the kids, 8th graders. And that's already going out to the schools, and our topic is, what does Memorial Day mean to me? So it's a great thing. We get a lot of applications back from the kids. They're great to read. They're very interesting. So again, that's my report tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion to accept the report of Councilman Slackbrown.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Councilman Hurley?
Thank you, Mayor, fellow council members, and our members of the public. We'll start off with the Finance Committee for our accounts payable. I move that the bills presented to the Borough of Rockaway for payment by the borough as evidenced by proper vouchers be referred to the committee or unit contracting for same and when endorsed by them and approved by appropriate action of council that they are to be paid.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Just briefly, continuing on some council business, Ms. Reitchie and I met with the DPW negotiating team yesterday, continued quite productive discussions, and based on that, we are scheduled to meet again next Wednesday with their team and continue to work on their contract. So it was a very good meeting, and we discussed and explored a lot of different areas in the both the operations and obviously in salary. So we'll meet again with their team and we'll see how that goes. Around town, attended the fire chief's dinner. We had a fantastic dinner, and I really thank Chief Van Saters and the entire fire department. It was a wonderful dinner. Had the opportunity not only to chat with our folks, but quite a few neighboring towns, Wharton and Dover, and a couple of folks that I had known from many years ago. But delicious food. And just as a note, in one of the discussions I had with them, if you've noticed lately, the fire whistles have been blowing like crazy. And one of the members has mentioned that he thinks, up to this point, we've had over 40 calls for service where we rolled on a truck. And this is only March 13th. So they've been quite an active group, and a number of those calls are for neighboring communities. So the amount of support that we give to mutual aid is to be, really recognized by those folks. So a big kudos to the fire department for that. Participated in a great event last week ago Tuesday. I don't know if you folks are familiar with it. I'm sure you've heard of it, but they have Read Across America. I've been doing it for about 10 years, over 10 years. And this year I had the pleasure of reading to the 3rd grade class. And Mayor Mulligan was there, and Director O'Connor was there too. But it really is a fun hour that you spend with the kids, and we read a couple of classic, one was about Rumpelstiltskin, and a couple of the other classic fairy tales, but I had a really, really good time. So, and then finally, the museum will be open on March 23rd. So again, an open house. Do encourage everybody. Open welcome there. We have the new Rockaway into Space exhibit and a lot of other things. So please come and join and visit us. And that's my report, Mayor.
Motion to accept the report of Councilman Hurley.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Council President Bertha.
Thank you very much. For the fire department, on March 5th, they met for their monthly meeting. They took the following actions. They scheduled drills for March 7th and March 26th. The department accepted the application of Anthony Robinson for membership. He will be assigned to Engine 412. May I have a motion to accept the actions of the fire department?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. I also attended the dinner on Saturday. It was a great time. They threw a really nice party, and it was so nicely attended, so thank you to everyone that came. On behalf of the Garden Club, Lynn Marina and Martell Reed asked me to send their thanks to the mayor and council for approval of the budget and all of the support that the club has provided throughout the year, and they are looking forward to spring plantings that will happen in April. For the police department, the February report, again, just like our fire department, who's just doing amazing work, our police department is doing that as well. From February 1st to February 28th, the police department had 1,215 calls for service. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, 1,200 calls.
Of that, 28 were crash investigations. Within that, 28 crash investigations, 49 traffic stops, 163 citations, which included 26 moving violations, 134 parking violations. The majority of that were for folks that didn't remove their cars when it was snowing. And they had 5 arrests in the month of February. So again, doing great work, keeping us safe.
Great.
That's my report.
Motion to accept the report of the council president.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Attorney?
Good evening, everybody. So recently I revised and updated the contract specifications for the activated carbon filter project, so we're gonna get that out to rebid. That's squared away. Been working with the borough administrator to finalize a shared service agreement for the sidewalk design and construction on Franklin, on the borough of Denville and Rockaway Borough. And last but not least, there's a resolution on this evening to approve the tax appeal settlement with Verizon. The very positive part about that is I think that is now the oldest appeal that the borough had that's off the record. It was 15 years of tax appeals, so obviously pretty substantial amount of money, and it's being withdrawn without any type of refund or payment.
Great.
Nice.
And that's my report.
Motion to accept the report of the attorney.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Or the mayor? I'll start off with a little bit of soft. Yesterday I was at the White House. I was invited to a reception by the president and Ireland's prime minister. And it's something that was annual tradition, one time going back to the 50s, where the Irish prime minister presents Trump with a Waterford crystal bowl full of shamrocks. So that was, it was great. In the press conference, that we were all invited to really revolved around U.S. and Irish relations. And of course, he goes into events that are around the world. And actually hearing it directly from him live is quite powerful to hear that. And it was kind of interesting. His persona that you see on TV is exactly how he is in person. So it was quite interesting. But as part of the reception, we were able to socialize with members of this cabinet, which was neat. They were shaking hands. Robert Kennedy, I think, was the most social of all this cabinet, so I was able to spend a few minutes with him. But it was a great time. It's a lifetime memory. It's the first time I've ever been in the White House, and I think there was 4 different checkpoints of security just before you even get into the building. But once you got through it all, it was an open book. Seeing not in the Oval Office, but outside the Oval Office, and some of those areas in the White House that are off limits to the public. So it's just beautiful in there, and the staff that work in there, real top shelf. So it was very nice. Quick RPM update. The nightly closures that were scheduled for this week were suspended. This is due to RPM's engineers needing to revisit some issues before continuing the work. As of right now, we don't know when they'll resume the road work, you know, the overnight closures.
As soon as we know a lot of it.
Yep, but as soon as we hear, we will communicate that. Then a quick library update regarding the testing. The material to library was independently tested, and all the testing results fell below the NGA DEP residential soil remediation standards for ingestion thermal exposure pathways. The independent results were provided to the DEP, which were reviewed, and their determination and concurrence was that the results were below limitations in DEP standards. So we're continuing, actually, DEP was in town, I believe, today or yesterday, doing some additional testing, but, you know, we're in constant contact with them to remediate,
On different sites, not on the library.
on different sites, but, you know, following the DEP standards. And that's it for me. Motion to accept the report of the mayor?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Report of our administrator?
I have no report tonight. Thank you.
Report of our clerk?
No report.
Resolutions, consent agenda. 50-25, authorized tax appeal settlement agreement, Verizon. 51-25, award contract, turf management of recreation fields. 52-25, certify compliance with U.S. EEOC's enforcement guidance on the consideration of arrest and conviction records and employment decisions under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. 53-25, execute shared service agreement with municipal court. 54-25, support publishing legal notices on the government websites. 55-25, authorize submission of strategic plan for Meaningful Alliance grant for the year 2026. 56-25, award contract, Stony Brook Pump Station. Is that a motion?
Motion to approve resolutions contained in the consent agenda commencing with 50-25, all through and inclusive of 56-25.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Haynes,
Yes.
Councilman Hurley,
Yes.
Councilman McDonald,
Yes.
Councilman Salzaro,
Yes.
Council President Bertha.
Yes.
Just a quick side note, in addition to executing the shared service agreement with the court, the judge was just extended his 3-year contract, you know, as a Tuesday night we found out. So Judge Smith has been doing some really good things for our town and our police and all our subcode officials that go before him. So he's doing the Rockaway Township Court is definitely doing a good job for us. One resolution, 49-25, approve special event permit application for the historical committee.
I have to recuse myself on this, so I'll just step to the back for a moment.
You don't have to.
Yeah, just
Okay.
Mayor also along with me, since I'm involved with that committee, I'll recuse myself. Thank you.
I'll offer.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Haynes,
Yes.
Councilman Hurley,
Recused.
Councilman McDonald,
Yes.
Councilman Salzaro,
Recused.
Council President Bertha.
Yes.
Thank you. We have 2 ordinances for adoption. 24-27, providing for the implementation of the West Main Street Affordable Housing Project in and by the Borough of Rockaway in the County of Morris, appropriating $600,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $476,100 bonds or notes for the borough to finance part of the cost thereof. Is this what we discussed before, Patty?
Is for,
Are we doing it, or?
yeah, so this is one we introduced, adopted last year, but just, it's not in addition to, it's just that the piece of, one item was not recorded at the time we did the adoption, so we needed to re-adopt it, so the paperwork is all in order. So this is not any in addition, it's just really redoing one that we did already.
Motion.
Motion to approve the ordinance, public hearing and adoption, 24-27.
Second.
Second.
Just for this ordinance only, I'd like to open the meeting to the public. Hearing none, close the meeting to the public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Haynes,
Yes.
Councilman Hurley.
Yes.
Councilman McDonald.
Yes.
Councilman Sockbauer.
Yes.
Council
Yes.
President Bertha.
Yes.
24-04, establishing chapter 219 sump pump regulations of the code of the Borough of Rockaway. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Just for this ordinance only, I'd like to open the meeting to the public.
You could just explain the changes, please?
Councilman Sockbauer?
Sump pump ordinance is put in place due to people that have sump pumps in their homes, they pump water onto the roads, and during the winter months it creates ice, which can cause an accident. And if there was an accident, unfortunately, it'd probably be the homeowner's responsibility, so it would affect their homeowner's insurance. Along with that, during the summer months, it builds up mold and mildew on the road, so it deteriorates the road throughout the year. So the roads are very costly, so try to prevent that happening. You can't put it on the road anymore. Just try to make it better, try to save what we have in the long run. The other thing is also with this, some people put the sump pump discharge into the sanitary sewer, which is not permitted either, and that raises the rates for Rockaway Valley. So try and catch this all together, try to save some money, and protect our town.
Okay,
All right,
thank you for the
No problem.
explanation. Thanks.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Slot Borough, question was, but you can take that sump pump, how many feet, 20, 25 feet from curb line?
It is in the ordinance, I haven't read it since we put it, it is in the ordinance, I'm sorry.
We always kept it 25 feet or so.
Yeah, you just can't discharge out the road, if you get close to the drain, you do put that, we do ordinance. It's been a while since we went through it all, but it's permissible.
What happens if it runs down to the road?
That's where you have to try to keep it in the yard, so the public in the yard. You gotta control it. Again, that creates ice problems.
Yeah, I understand that. It's just a lot of hills in Rockaway.
I
Water
live on a hill
runs
too.
downhill.
I live in a hill too, so I just have to live, work right in the house.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Haynes.
Yes.
Councilman Hurley.
Yes.
Councilman McDonald.
Yes.
Councilman Sockbauer.
Yes.
Council President Bertha.
Yes.
Great, thank you. I'd like to open the meeting to the public.
Anton Cal 151 Mount Pleasant Avenue, Rockaway. I have a question for the library. I think I wasn't here for the last meeting itself. It was a $50,000 budget itself for that.
No, what we did is we put $50,000, 25,000 in the current budget and 25,000 in the water budget for any removal test, it's for testing and removal of any dirt.
And
We don't have a quote yet.
Okay,
for the
okay,
library.
that's all I want to know. And then you were saying multiple sites. Oh, we have any of those sites itself?
Yeah, I think, there's a site,
So DP asked us if we had any other sites that we put it in. We reported 2 sites, and one of the sites they're going to is Centennial.
Centennial.
No, yeah, Centennial.
and then the other site behind Rockwood.
Rockwood, but they're not testing that one. They're only looking at Centennial.
So where's the dirt going now? Or fill?
The spoils that are coming out now. We're getting them tested, and then they'll be being trucked out, and that's part of what the $50,000 is gonna help start paying for.
Well, no, I mean, from the 1 year ago, where's the fill going now? I mean, from a year ago till now, where was the fill going to?
That I do not have that information.
It was going to one of those, sites, and that's why
Okay, so,
we told the DEP where those sites were.
so it's actually going to Rockwood Road itself. So on Rockwood, it wasn't there a year ago. Now, there's at least, my calculations over there, you got 3 stockpiles over there.
Right, they're pending testing to then.
No, I understand.
We self-reported that to Rockwood, to the
Yeah.
DEP.
But, so you got at least about 300 cubic yards over there. You're actually 6,300 square feet over there of disturbance itself. So now you've got to fall under soil conservation itself. Over there, it hasn't rained, what, I can't even think when it rained. You have soil erosion going down the road 180 feet down to the catch base itself. Actually, well, RPM, that construction's way cleaner than Rockwood Road itself. So on Rockwood, you have erosion going right to the catch base itself. So in other words, if the soil conservation was there, they would tell you how there's no silt fabric fence over there, there's no tracking pad for gravel over there, and there's still clumps of asphalt on that property itself. So in other words, you know, I'm not saying we're potty training, but I'm trying to say is like, the asphalt's gotta stop. You know? I mean, this is what the whole big issue is.
No, it's been there, obviously, and then we've self-reported to DEP, and DEP has been to that site, and we're working directly with the DEP.
But, you know, stockpiles, there are asphalt in there, because.
Well, that's part of our working with the DEP.
Yeah, so, that was that, so. And for the library, who would like be doing this work itself, or?
We're in the middle of getting, quotations and, options to remove it.
So it would be going out for bid?
No,
We're just seeing what our options are. We have not come up with a game plan yet.
meaning that we haven't selected a contractor to remove the dirt.
Okay, and then, let me see. And then for what do you call, like, when you decide to do this work itself, I mean, this is over a year ago, and these problems have been ongoing itself. The engineer, like, who's gonna monitor this job is actually
The DEP.
the DEP, but DEP is different. DEP,
We're working with directly with the DEP to remediate.
no, I understand that, but soil conservation and the engineer, like, we already got charged almost $3,200 just for a set of plans that they didn't even follow. So my question is that, I know how the soil conservation works. They take the engineering and they trust the engineer. I mean, we've been there multiple times and you never had your 3-to-1 slope over there. And he said, when I had talked to Patty before about, you know, is anything gonna be removed? No. Is the grading gonna be done? No. So my question is like, who, I mean.
Well, that's mute now, just because we are working directly with the DEP to remediate that area.
But the DEP is for the soil itself. Soil conservation is stabilizing. Engineering, or the town, is for the grading itself, for the slope. That's the issue itself. So in other words, I'm seeing like all these problems, just like we were on.
We're remediating them. You
No,
know,
I understand that, but my question is, the engineering's, really, we have this problem with the engineering, ongoing problems. It was Crestwood, when I first contacted you, we had 2 tandem wells sitting out there. They were blaming the engineering, saying the engineers told the contractor it was good there. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, who's gonna monitor the engineering? That's my question.
well, DEP's working with our engineer.
So this, okay, so on Crestwood, remember we did that punch list, that drain grate we were talking about? So the guy's name is Jerry. He called me for doing an outdoor deck itself. That's his property itself. And then we were talking about that drain grate. He remembers Samantha saying, the drain grate, yes, it's gonna be there. Just now, when that cap was put on, he told me that either, I don't know if it was a contractor, and I'm not saying engineer, I don't know. They said, that's it, the cap's there, and that's all it's gonna be.
No, it's not.
No, I'm giving you a feedback. I'm giving you a feedback itself. But let me give you that drain grate. That drain grate's not gonna work.
It's part of the engineering plans that were approved.
I understand that. The thing is that drain grate's here, dirt's here, water doesn't go into it.
The job's not complete yet, so I don't know when it's gonna.
Well, the cap is set at the height, the dirt grade is already set going uphill itself. So it's impossible for it to work out, you know? So that's basically it, you know? But I would say like for, Rockwood, you need to have that, what do you call it, cleaned up over there, stabilized itself. I mean, soil conservation doesn't know about it. So in other words,
DEP does, they were here this week, so they saw
DEP
it.
is different. So if I call the soil conservation, would you be surprised they would say that they're not stabilizing that material properly? I mean, I have pictures to show you the erosion going down the road. Patty, you're testing me?
No,
No,
just,
the mayor,
just
you're
to
testing
focus
me?
here.
I'll make that phone call tomorrow.
Yeah, I know you will.
Yep,
You know,
and you know that.
I know,
okay.
you know, so.
And just like DEP, when DEP I talked to them on Monday, they didn't even do my testimonial itself, on Centennial itself, the cubic yardage, the, what do you call the slope itself.
As I mentioned, they were there today.
Yeah, because when they had to, they already know how many cubic yards are there. Cubic yards is the biggest issue itself. That's what we're having a problem with engineering itself. So you might be surprised it's gonna slide under and say it's okay the way it is. I mean, you disagree, you know? So, and that's basically it, you know? Thank you.
Thank you, Angelo. Any comments from the public?
George Schuster, 215 Andrew Drive, Rockaway. I like this is nice. I just had a couple of questions about the budget. I know now, so our portion is all
George,
done.
I'm not answering any budget questions tonight. We'll talk about it on April 10th.
Oh, okay.
April 10th is the night
That's the
for
public hearing.
public hearing. on
Okay.
it.
At that time, would I be able to ask a question about the $600,000 and how much, because right now you told us that our budget is at 1.95%.
George, the budget we'll talk about on April 10th.
Nothing on that, eh? All right, thank you.
Thanks, George.
Nice, though.
Comments from the public?
Do I have to sign it?
Yes, please.
Katie Clark, 66 West Black Street, hello. So you're not accepting any questions about the budget?
No.
Alright.
We'll have the public hearing on April 10th.
Okay, the resolution 5425 about supporting, publishing legal notices on the website. Can you just give a little bit more information on that, please?
So, it's proposed, there's proposed legislation as the newspapers are, more and more of the newspapers, especially statewide, are no longer going to be, or I guess no longer, the Star Ledger is no longer in print at this point. Are no longer in print at this point. We're essentially, as municipalities, going to be paying newspapers to put something on their website versus putting it on our own website. So there's legislation to, proposed legislation to allow municipalities to post these notices,
Okay.
online.
So right now, if you don't post in or publish in the newspaper, you haven't met your legal requirements, right?
Yes.
But do you also put stuff on the website now?
Yes.
Or you do? Like, it's sort of twofold when you do that? And anywhere else that you put them? I know that,
The annual notice satisfies all the notice for the meetings that's required in the year.
So is anything to do with the new legislation, will it change that? Because I hear you say that in meetings about, oh, we gave adequate notice, I know that that's legally you're meeting your requirements, but at the same time, is it adequate notice to tell them in January that there's potentially going to be a meeting in, you know, August and this particular project's going to be on the agenda? I mean,
You're asking, well, in your personal opinion, or are you asking like legally speaking? Because legally speaking, if that's what the law says, you could specifically notice all the, I mean, it makes sense, right? Because why would you publish, think of how expensive it is to publish that many notices, like in the newspaper, when your meetings are every other Thursday at the same time, same place, same location. You just literally publish the one notice and it's the same. And the public has the notice that it needs to come to the meetings for a year. And I mean, I can speak to that. I mean, in my experience, people don't come to public meetings because they're boring and they don't want to. Not because they don't know about them.
okay. Yeah, because I think there's been a push, right, to expand it beyond just the municipal websites as well. The Tap Into Network, I think, offers posting of,
No, that's not what this is, it's
No,
because,
I know, it's also just relating to that, that they just released something that can be $25 a day and publish it on their website, so. Okay, if you're not talking about budget. A lot about budget. So the library remediation, so the soil was tested and it didn't meet the standards. How does that change what the sort of already planned is? Guessing that's.
It doesn't, we just don't have, we can just remove it. It doesn't have to go through any other testing.
Okay, but that was the testing that you needed to do.
Correct.
Are there any further violations because of what the test results were, or is it a sort of a yes, no, like?
No, there's additional testing that'll be done around town, some of the other sites that
Because of,
we identified.
because of the levels that were at the library, so it prompted that, or it's, hey, have you been dumping anywhere else?
No, part of the DEP, violations, as I mentioned before, we self-reported other areas that we had dumped soil
Prior years. I mean, I go
Previous.
back to
previously. But they're gonna be testing all the sites, and then we'll have to remediate each one of the sites by removing the soil.
And that's separate, but the removing of the soil from those 3 sites is not accounted for in the budget.
It is.
Is that, but then that 50 is for just generally, as other projects and stuff come up?
It was just a matter of, I picked a number, again, because we have no number, so I just started off with 25,000 this year, maybe next year we'll need to do more, don't know. It's new this year, don't know, was trying to put something in there, so it's in the budget, depending on how many water main breaks and whatever we have going with testing, whatever, we might have to put more in next year.
And that's something would happen, just because I know the timing's very tight, with if they're here testing right now, the cost, there's gonna be additional cost of testing that, right? We just paid $1,300 for the library, and there's gonna be 2 additional sites, and then do the remediation plans to go along with those. That's gonna have to happen in 25.
Remediation is removing the material.
Yeah, I know.
but I think you're assuming all these things are happening, and what they're telling you is that they're merely planning for possibilities as opposed to committing things that have actually happened. So it's just planning, none of them have actually happened yet.
Well, the dumb thing's happening, doesn't it? Okay, thank
Well,
you.
the testing, it's just testing, that nothing may not have to be done with the other sites, it's just,
Maybe. Hopefully not, because it's not in the current budget, is it? Okay, and then, when is the tree ordinance gonna be adopted? Is that next meeting?
Yes.
Just, one question, maybe Mr. Bowers can answer. So I know we're taking out beautification. Are there examples of other ordinances where you can have beautification of it in the code? That's not related to a tree preservation conservation one? Just because it allows us to set aside money specifically, right, for those kinds of projects? Or is that not something that's generally done and just include it in the capital budget?
Generally, you don't allocate funding specifically in an ordinance unless there's a state edict or some other type of reason to it.
Okay.
That's actually very rare to do that.
Okay. But nice, okay. And then one thing, I'm not really sure if it's budget related, but I heard it in a budget meeting. You talked about some wet well work in the back. Is that here?
Yeah.
That in the back, yeah. Oh,
That way.
That way. And that's gonna be for 1.1 million. I saw that there was a bond ordinance in 24. Is that part of anything to do with
That was
budget?
part of last year's budget, so
Oh,
it's just, yeah, so
Okay.
last year we gave approval to go out for that debt. So right now, I'm hoping, not hoping, but we're scheduled to have the construction costs and all that for, design, I'm sorry, not construction, design costs by the end of this year, this month. And then, we have to move forward with the, funding of that, and that's what goes through what, they call the I-Bank. And the I-Bank is where we borrow money
and I don't understand their formula, but at some point, if we're paying it good, there could be some type of forgiveness too that we don't have to pay back, so.
Because
That, yeah.
of the nature of what they're paying for?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like, cause it's funded through whatever, so you might get some grants, so maybe, we might not have to pay the full amount back, so that one project's gonna get funded through the iBank, but that was approved in 2024.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you more questions about that IBAG stuff in the future, just because you'd mentioned it as well with Brook Street, and there being a new.
I'm learning this because this is the first iBank ever that I've run out for, so it'll be, I'm actually, I'll answer the best I can.
Yeah, it seems like it's for specifics of water, something.
Well, it's on a case by case, like, you know, they look at each project and whatever, so that's what I said, there's no written rule that this is how the iBank works, this is it. It's like they look at each project, they see how much is funded, how much is, you know, and I guess if there's any grants out there or something that helps offset that, that's where we, you know, where they can be reduced. So I think it's on a case by case, so it's not like it's a flat rule for iBank, my understanding.
Alright, and speaking of Brook Street, you mentioned that they've identified some new pressure area? I don't know.
Stony Brook.
It's not.
The new.
Okay, the
Highway.
Stony-
Was it Stony Brook, not Brook?
Yes, Stony Brook, I'm sorry, what was the question?
Okay, that negates my question.
Okay.
So I was like, if there's something wrong with Brook, it was just fixed, why are you paving it?
Yeah.
Forget that. And then a question, last one, about Franklin Ave Phase 1. So you said recently that we're gonna schedule a pre-con meeting.
Yeah, we had our pre-con meeting and it's just, the project's gonna start moving along. I mean, it's just a matter of, weather, design, getting, contracts back. And the
So-
project will start.
That's just one thing, so it's gonna be the part of Franklin from,
So it's from East Main Street all the way up to, and I'm gonna say the IC building. That's the easiest way, yeah. And then phase 2 will be, which we're looking at for this year, will be from the IC building all the way to the Denville line.
So is there a plan in place for just like detours and stuff like that, and they're gonna be doing the work, be closing that road?
So we don't have any exact dates yet, but we will let you know. I will report it for you.
I'll look for it on the sign. Alright, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public?